Good evening YouTube and welcome back to Outsiders. My name's Sean Connors and this is my RPG channel. Now listen, hi, good evening to you all. I've got Boggle in the background. You may hear some weird sounds and various other things. At the moment Boggle is sucking a coat hanger. It's a long story, but for those that know, Boggles are very strange creatures and this one is definitely no different than any Boggle I've ever met. Anyway, I'm going to be talking about some questions that have been thrown at me. I have to apologise because I, just at the right key moment of this video, I forgot the names of the people who put these questions in. But they'll know who they are, so I apologise about that. I'm going to start off with no particular order to this, about artefacts. I'm going to start by talking about those very quickly. I was asked basically, do I use them? You know, how do I handle them? You know, when do I use them? What sort of things do I do with them? They're very simple. I mean, I've been DMing for a long time, as you know, but I very rarely use artifacts purely because of the problems that they bring into a campaign. Sometimes the artifacts, by their very definition, are completely unplayable. They're very broken items. They're overpowered. You know, they generally cause more problems than they're worth. Often have side effects and various negatives. But because of that, in a strange way, there is an affinity and a love affair with them. I prefer really when a player has gone through a campaign and maybe gets to the end, and then you know you have a mop up at the very end of the game, and you know maybe that character in 15 years afterwards retires and becomes the Lord or does what, and those items become the artifacts that you can draw in later into next campaigns. That sort of thing I prefer to do. But you know there are some great artifacts. If we're talking D&D Pathfinder, some brilliant artifacts. I mean, I've used the Dragon's Orbs at the moment in my campaign because they're very well balanced. They are powerful, but they're incredibly well balanced because obviously, by definition of being a dragon orb, it's got a dragon contained within it. So obviously every dragon worth his salt of that colour is going to want to free this old great dragon from this orb. So, I mean, by having it, it's a pretty bad thing to do, so you wouldn't want to hang on to it for very long. But I love artefacts that have repercussions. I love the Deck of Many Things personally, and so I do use these items occasionally, but very sparingly and really only at the right times. I would never recommend to any DM, particularly a beginning DM, to actually just, you know, have them as flavour in the background, but don't actually use them. Not until you've gained some more confidence in what you're doing, you've thought about long and hard and the reason why you want to have an artefact in the game, and then allow it in. And you know, start small. Take some smaller artefacts that have maybe more repercussions for the player if they decide to take, you know, if it goes down that route, than anything else. So that's a little bit about artefacts, and hopefully that covers off the question. I was then asked a fantastic question. I mean, I really think this is a top drawer question, and you know, I can shoot myself for not being actually able to remember off the top of my head your name. But what I did like about it, it's a very simple question. It's about somebody's going to be running a game at a shop for pretty much novices, and they're saying, you know, I want to really wow these people. It's obviously going to be first level. What sort of creatures should I use, and how should I wow them so that they come back and want to play again? Well, the first thing is to just take a step back for a second. First thing is you're doing them a favour. So, you know, put yourself on a real pedestal. They're going to look for you for guidance and leadership. Yeah, that's the first thing. But they are new to the hobby. Now, it isn't for everybody. You could do the best job that anybody's ever seen in the world, and that might inspire 50% of them to want to come back. You might find after a few weeks of still doing the best job in the world that everybody drops out. That's not because you're not doing a good job. It's because it wasn't right for them. And that's the thing that's fascinating about role-playing in so many ways. It doesn't work for everyone. Not everybody is hooked on it the way that we are. Yeah, the way that we love it and what we understand from it. I don't know why. I'm surprised personally that the hobby does not receive the mainstream attention that it so richly deserves. It has a wonderful... It does, and that's a reason to cry about it. Absolutely. Totally a reason to cry about it. I'm going to have to pacify for 2 seconds. Boggle, the coat hanger goes that way round. Well done. So you can see even Boggle gets frustrated with that. It deserves more media attention. It deserves films on it, subject matter. It's a wonderful subject matter for teaching children, for people who... you know, maybe they haven't got an outlet as a writer or as someone who's creative. Roleplay gives you another way of being creative. As my friend put it richly, it is the best book and the best. It is the best book and the best film you have ever seen, all rolled into one when done well. And that is a collaboration of both the players and the DM. Now, let's get back onto your subject here. The thing is, don't worry about picking the right creatures for these people. Boggle, I'm trying to do a video here, Boggle. This is the hardest video I've ever done. Apologies here. You have to calm down. Try a sock. Try a sock. Socks are good. Try the sock. Yeah, socks are lovely. Try that. I'm not sure if it's a smelly sock. Yeah, help yourself. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, we'll give you this instead. Try this. Try this. There you go. Anyway, sorry, we go off the subject, man. I do apologise. It's going to be a comedy video. This. It's virtually unworkable. Look at the standards of the place is falling apart. But it doesn't matter to them what creatures you use, because it's their first experiences, so everything to them is new. I would say, to be honest with you, it's not what creatures you choose, it's how you choose to use them. One of the best things you can do is just think about, recently, and I had some influence in this, Pathfinder took a direction where they decided to bring back goblins, right? Low-level minions, and develop their personalities really well. And for me, that is the key. It doesn't matter what creatures you use. It's how you go about using them. It's how you portray the mannerisms, what you do in terms of the physical size, the tonality. We talked about this in the previous video about deeper communication. That is far more important than anything else. And by your DMing skills, maybe some of those players will stick and want to come back and do some more. And you know what? If you get one person out of a group of 10 who really loves it, you've succeeded. Take that as a compliment. But I'm going to recap for you. Very simple. Put together your game, know your material well, choose creatures you feel comfortable with, hand them up, really go for them, really put effort into it. You have a screen in front of you, and for new people joining this wonderful hobby of ours, the screen is the most powerful tool, because it's a mystery. They don't know what's behind it. They've got no idea. And that mystery to them is everything. And it makes them think, wow. And if you have to take a player aside and whisper a few things, fantastic. If you have to bang your hand down on the table to create the dramatic flair that you want, do it. Because they'll remember those things. Even if they don't like it, they'll still remember it. And it won't be because you haven't done a good job. So I hope that answers your question. Anyway, it's pretty clear. The Boggle needs feeding. Again. So I'm going to have to go and leave this comedy of errors video, but a good mailbag nevertheless, in your capable hands. My friends, thank you for listening. I've been Sean Connors. This was Outsiders. Till the next time, take care of yourselves. Until then, bye-bye.